everybody. Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio. I am one half of this show. I am Colt Brocado. My good friend Patrick Blair in Zoom land as usual. Sir, last episode, we talked about Radiohead, and I couldn't remember. You told me the two songs I mentioned was Karma Police and Creep that were the main ones that I knew. And you told me to watch a music video for one of them. Which was it?
Karma Police.
It was Karma Police?
Yeah.
And you said that music video is awesome?
I love that music video. You don't like it?
It's nothing. It's a car and a guy running in front of a car. And then
he sets himself on fire.
And then it just pans to him singing in the car.
The dude sets himself on fire.
I know, but still.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. When somebody says the music video is freaking awesome, I was expecting more than that. I'm sorry. Maybe you got my expectations a little bit too high on that one.
It's a good build. It's a steady build. I don't fucking know.
A steady build for 4 minutes of a song?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Apex Twin Come to Daddy? Because I know I told you to check that music video out.
Yeah, that was the really weird one, right?
Yeah, that one's super weird. But that's a great music video as well.
Now, see, that I like. Maybe that's why my expectations were so high for this one, is because last time you told me a music video was so cool, and it was.
Sorry, dude. I mean, from what I remember, I probably haven't seen that music video in 10 years, but I remember it being cool. Okay. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's bland like Radiohead. Maybe it fits their sound.
Some would agree with you. Some would agree with you.
Just some.
Creep has 671 million views on YouTube.
I don't remember that music video. I don't know that I've ever watched that music video all the way through.
It's just them on stage. It's like a music video made out of a live performance.
You know, Patrice O'Neal once said, I watched a clip of him on a radio show, and he said that's the white person's anthem, Creep. He said because it makes them go through all of the emotions at once. Like, you know, throughout the song, they get sad, they get happy, they get angry, right?
Yeah.
Got a good point. I mean, I actually was like, yeah, that's probably... What did I say? You asked me one time about a band, and I said it's music designed to make me hate white people. Do you remember what that is?
Oh, it's hard telling.
The White Stripes.
Garth Brooks, probably.
The White Stripes. Garth Brooks as well, but the White Stripes. Yeah. Okay. No, so I had a story from the last show that I never told, and I don't know how I thought of it, but so we were talking about Tool, and I remember I was saying that, you know, if you have a Tool shirt on, it's very likely that I'm going to keep my distance from you.
Uh-huh.
So here's a funny story. So when I was 18 years old, probably like just out of high school, I was auditioning for bands and trying to find bands to play in. And I get a phone call because I think I posted an ad on, I don't know. To be honest with you, if I was 18, I don't know where it would have been, but maybe I put an ad up, like a flyer up at like a Guitar Center or something like that. But
old school days right there. But hey,
yeah.
But I have a question. Was this for vocals? Like you wanted to be a singer in a band?
Yeah.
So you knew at that point that you thought you had something? Like what age?
No. I was terrified. I was terrified to do it, but I had to just try, you know.
Just on your own? Like nobody was pushing you to do it? You're just like, I got to try this?
No one was pushing me to do it. No.
Huh.
No. They were pushing me to college. That's about it. But so I might have put like vocals and or guitar. And I was even at that point, because the way that music was at that point, like I just felt like as a guitar player, I was like, I don't know if I have much to offer here to a band, you know, like songwriting, sure. But so I get a phone call from this guy and he goes, yeah, I read your ad. And so we just started chatting. And so we were talking about like, what bands do you like? And this and that. And, you know, so I was probably like Incubus, Deftones, and his response to that was, oh, I like A Perfect Circle. I'm like, oh, I like A Perfect Circle also. That's a good call, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And those three bands fit in together a little bit, right? Now, when I'm 18, I have the same distaste for Tool fans as I do now. I never liked Tool. I never got it. And I didn't like the kids that liked Tool in school. So I invite this guy and another guy and his band, I'm using air quotes there, over to I'm still living with was I living with my parents? Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was after I had already been out on my own and I had to move back because I just had to, you know, when you're 18, you blow all your money or you can't find a place to live. So it was a transitional period. We'll call it that. But I was 18. So I invite them over to my parents' house to audition or whatever it would be. And they both walk up and they're both wearing Tool shirts. And I was like, fuck me. I am not. So like, and I remember seeing it from afar too, because the one Tool shirt that was super popular when I was in high school was the fucking one that looked like a dick. It was like a tool and looked like a penis. I can't explain it. Anyway, they both walk up wearing the same shirt, that same shirt. I was like, you didn't say on the phone that you were a Tool fan, but I should have just put two and two together that, okay, he likes Perfect Circle. He definitely likes Tool. And I was like, fuck, do I kick these guys out now or do I run through this? So, so they end up staying. We jam a little bit. It's fine. And so I actually, for a little while there, jammed with them, but nothing came of it. They were incredibly lazy dudes, incredibly lazy. Like we would show up and we were like paying for a rehearsal space, which is another thing too. Like, I think that's foreign to people at this point in 2022, like paying to play somewhere. Maybe not, but it seems like a very dated, archaic thing.
Foreign because people like do it in their basement now, or
they just, they have a place to do it. I don't know. It seems like an archaic idea. I could be wrong. But yeah, we and this is another thing. So we rehearsed at a place called Berserker Studios, recording studio, record store / rehearsal spaces, and it was right across the street or maybe next door to, oh God, what was the skate park called? Ramp Riders, a skate park. So it was like, if you're 18, you're into the music scene, you're into the skate scene, this was like the place to be. That was downtown. So rented a rehearsal space with these guys, and we would get together and they would just sit there for 2 hours, just smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, drinking Pepsi. We'd just do nothing. And I finally was like, hey guys, next rehearsal, do you want me to bring my guitar and my gear and I'll show you some riffs that I have? They're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, do that. And so next rehearsal, I show up with my guitar, play a few riffs. Dude's like, hell yeah, but let me sit here and just chain smoke for a little bit and really like vibe out. Like they would put up like lava lamps and like, I'm like, dudes, can we just play? What are we doing?
How old were these guys?
They were a little bit older than me. I want to say they were both like maybe 20, 21, maybe not. But I think I do recall they were older than me. But yeah, we just did nothing. We just sit there and do nothing. I was just like, this is dumb. That was my first real glimpse into like, oh, this is going to be harder than I thought. Like finding a group of guys that see eye to eye with me. Look at me now. Here I am just doing it all on my own. But so I think those are good learning experiences though, you know?
So that was what, 20 years ago ish, right?
How old do you think I am, dude? Yeah, that was 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how long has a Perfect Circle been around?
So their first record probably came out in 2000, 2001. And I might be getting the timeline wrong here. And let me double check.
So if that's the case, then they weren't around very long before this all went down.
No, not at all. And to be honest with you, no, they were, they formed in 99 and Mardinams came out in 2000. Yeah. So I was right on track with my timeline here. How dare you doubt me? You son of a bitch. Don't doubt me. Yeah. No. So, like I said, that's a good learning experience. I have plenty of those stories, you know. I think after that too, oh man, I wish I could remember. It had to have been an ad I put at Guitar Center because I definitely didn't have the internet. I didn't have a computer.
Yeah.
I did, it existed and people used it back then, but it was very new still in the year 2000. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's got to be.
Isn't it crazy in 20 years how much things have changed from that aspect? Like when it comes to how bands do everything, literally everything.
Those two guys actually started a Tool tribute band way later, like 10 years later. Swear to God. But after I played with them for a little bit, I found another band was actually kind of like established, but they're like a hardcore band. And I remember thinking like, well, I don't want to scream. I want to sing. Maybe I'll scream every once. I didn't know what I wanted to do vocal. Like it took me a long time, but like, so I remember going to rehearse with them or like try out for them or, oh no. So this is after. So I remember what I did. They were like, yeah, we have a song on the internet. And I was like, fuck, I don't have the internet. I'm like, but I'll find a way to listen to it. I went to the library and listened to their song over and over, trying to learn the old vocalists' lines. And it was a disaster. They didn't like me. They didn't like me. Wasn't a good fit. Those dudes, what did they turn into? They turned into a band that got fairly established in St. Louis too. I can't remember the name. It would take me a long time, but yeah, those are good learning lessons because you meet the types of personalities that want to be in bands, and you discover quickly that like, oh shit, I don't see eye to eye with people on this, so it's going to take me a long time to find. Not that I ever have. It's always been for the most part, a fucking nightmare. But
well, I said it's weird, like in the past 20 years, how things have changed for everything for bands. Does that include like in a recording studio? Like, do you think the way that bands record is a lot different now? Not just like the advancement of the technology, but just like the way that bands actually record. Is it a lot different now than it used to be?
It can be, but I think it just depends. But yeah, I mean, yes, it is way different. It is way different. But this is all anecdotal. I don't know. Some bands probably do it. Well, like when we talk to Inimical, I asked the stupid question if the album was going to be electronic drums. Mind you, they have one of the best drummers in music. Forget about just in St. Louis, just in music. And I was like, oh, that was a stupid question. Of course they tracked live drums. Like, come on. But a lot of bands don't. Obviously me, I'm doing everything on my own. I cannot play the drums. So electronic drums is what you get, people.
So even bands that do have like a really good drummer, some of them will still do electronic drums.
Yeah.
Is it just because it can sound better? Or I mean, that sounds like a pretty like an insult to your drummer.
Yeah, but it can be. And there are a lot of drummers who wouldn't allow it. But I think electronic drums do sound, a lot of times you can tell. And again, I shouldn't be the one speaking to this. We should have a drummer on to talk about this. But for me, there are a lot of times where I go, oh yeah, electronic drums sound better for this song, this sound. But you know, the last record I put out with Monster, you know, I mean, it was electronic drums.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I mean, Alex is one of the best drummers, again, like in music, in my opinion. Like he's really good. And he's been called really good by producers. And, you know, like this isn't just my opinion, but yeah, no, he was just like, yeah, it'll be electronic, no big deal. I was like, okay, all right. And again, that's just my one experience. You know, again, this is a question for a drummer. I don't speak drummer, but you could definitely notice. And I think early on, I would say, you know, 15 years ago, if a band did use electronic drums, people talked shit about it. And who cares?
You know, speaking of drums, this just popped in my head. I don't remember who the band was. I would have to look it up, but I just seen something on Facebook the other day about a drummer who was in the middle of a festival, in the middle of their set, and his in-ear stopped working. So there was a crew guy, and there's this video of this crew guy going over and just using a drumstick to tap on the guy's leg, so he kept the I don't speak drummer either. What kept the metronome, I guess it is considered, or whatever, for the rest of their set for like another 4 or 5 songs. Well, that's pretty crazy.
Good on that guy.
Yeah.
And you said this was a what band? You don't know?
I don't remember. It was seemed like a big festival though.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, those guys are, I would be terrified to be a tech also. And I don't know why. I mean, but we have friends that do it. I don't know. It feels like a lot of pressure, but I guess after you do it for so long, it's like, it's autopilot. It's fucking karaoke. You just do it, you know, but.
Yeah, I'm sure you go through enough mistakes too that, you know, once you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, if this happens, this is what we do. This happens, this is what we do. This is the fastest way to fix this issue.
Yeah. Well, it's having toured and been on tour as someone who wasn't playing in the band and being around techs, it takes a special kind of personality as well. You really have to have like I don't know, you have to have like a fuck it personality almost. I've never met a tech that's stressed about anything in their life, you know? They're willing to just go with the flow. It was super bizarre. I was at a party once And I don't remember whose it was, but so I remember back in the early 2000s. Oh no, it was the Metallica did a tour where it was them, Limp Bizkit, Deftones, and Mudvayne. You know what I'm talking about? What is that called? Summer Sanitarium Tour? Something like that.
Okay.
And Mudvayne, you're going to make fun of me again for being a Mudvayne super fan here, but so Mudvayne put out a DVD from their time on that tour, and their drum tech on the DVD was at this party I was at, right? And he had a few moments in the DVD where he talked about being the drum tech. And when I met the guy, I was like, "Hey, don't you tech for such and such from Mudvayne?" He's like, "Yeah." And I go, and I start talking to him, and his personality completely matched the way he was on that DVD, meaning like just a drum tech here to do it. Like he was just like a dude, and didn't care just being a dude. Didn't want attention, didn't want like accolades, like whatever. Which I guess you shouldn't if you're a tech, but I don't know. But yeah, I remember meeting him, and he was just like the same person. He was a really nice guy. Wish I could remember that guy's name.
Could you imagine being like the drum tech for, say, Tommy Lee?
Oof.
Especially with all the stuff that he does where he like flips upside down and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah, that probably has its own tech.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Aside from just being the drum tech.
Right.
But yeah, so being around those guys, they're really a specific type of personality. That's probably why I could never do it, because I stress about everything and have anxiety about everything. So
yeah,
I don't think that's the type of person it takes. So the Tool guys, I remember the Berserker studios we rehearsed at, there would be, man, so much to come back thinking about this. But so you remember when we talked about Machine Gun Kelly covering Aerials?
Mm-hmm.
In one of the rooms there would be this guy, just a dude, who would come, and I don't even know if he was in a band, but he would just come and rehearse guitar there. And I always thought it was bizarre. I was like, why don't you just do it at your house? I guess it's because he wanted to fucking shred, and really play loud. And I guess he's probably in a studio apartment and couldn't do it, whatever. But I remember one of the times we were there, he was learning the song Aerials, and it was taking him what seemed like an extra amount of time to get it down. And I remember thinking, might not be the best song for you, bro. You don't seem to understand. And it just made me think about, we said like, Machine Gun Kelly, that's just not a song for you. Maybe that's not a song for anybody. I'm going to try to learn that on guitar here this weekend if I have time, and see how difficult it is. I've never tried.
You should try to sing it too.
I can sing it, no problem.
No problem. I'm sure, yeah.
No, I can. It's easy.
Can you? Yeah.
I'll film a video of me doing it.
No,
it really is not a difficult song to sing. It's just, like I said, that guy's got a special kind of thing with his voice. It's just different,
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. And I remember, so that guy was trying to cover that song. And then the next door over, there was a fucking death metal band. And I mean, when I say death metal. And they would always come out after they were done rehearsing. They'd listen to that guy. They'd talk to that guy. And they would talk shit about System of a Down. And they would go, dude, why are you trying to learn that fucking Poser's riffs? And he's like, we would all be like, Poser? What are you talking about? Like, he fucking ripped all of his riffs off, that dude from that System of a Down band. All of those riffs, they're stolen. And we were like, well, who did he steal them from? And they were like, you ever heard of a band called Carcass? I'm like, I have. I don't know how he ripped off Carcass. I don't know how you hear Aerials and you hear a Carcass ripoff, but I guess. So then it got like, we would really like test the theory. We'd put on that record, and then we'd try to, no one had I didn't have a Carcass CD, but we'd try to find somebody that had a Carcass CD and like listen and compare. And we're like, dude, we don't get it. But I trust this death metal dude. He probably knows better than me. So I'm just going to run with it. And then I started saying like, yeah, if I try to be cool, be like, he ripped off Carcass. People be like, bro, do you even know who Carcass is? You're wearing a Pennywise shirt. You don't listen to Carcass.
Right. Well, I'm also thinking, when we talked about Tool, we talked about Deftones, and said that those are bands where if you're in, you're all in, and there's not much else besides them. If you're into death metal, like you're not into anything else, right? Like you're not into death metal and pop punk. Like those two, I don't think those two things go together.
Yeah, well, I'll surprise you right now. So I knew a guy, he was in a band here. He's originally from the death metal scene in Florida, which is like considered to be where it became really popular in the United States anyway. Like I want to say that he knew like the dudes in like Suffocation and shit. But I don't, this is why I'm not saying the guy's name, because I could be wrong about all of this. I'm just trying to piece together my memory here. But but one thing I do know for sure about him, or remember for sure about him, is he was a really good death metal, really good drummer, but he preferred to play death metal. But he also really liked pop music and electronic music. And a band he was really into when they came out was Paramore.
Whoa.
So much so that I remember I hadn't seen him in quite some time. And I went and saw Paramore at the pageant, and he was there. Like, I saw him there, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this about you. You really did. And he's like, yeah, no, I can't help it. I'm like, huh? At least you admit it. I don't know.
I mean, you were there too. Were you there on your own, or were you there with? So, were you there to see Paramore, like you, or were you with someone who was there to see Paramore?
No, I was there to see Paramore for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Paramore.
Okay.
I don't remember who they played with though, and it was their show. Because I know I've seen them a couple of times. I saw them at the pageant, and I can't remember if it was their show. And then I saw them open up for No Doubt, which was, I don't remember much from that show either. I don't even know if I stayed for No Doubt, which I probably should have. But
I don't think I would.
I mean, I like and appreciate No Doubt, like early No Doubt, the stuff that came out when I was a kid. But like all that, like Hella Good and like songs like that, I was like, yeah, okay. And I like pop music, and I was like, this feels like it's even a little bit too much for me, which seems hypocritical. I understand, but it just wasn't for me. I wasn't the target demo of that music, I don't think.
So when I was mowing the yard the other day, I turned on. Do you know the band Just Surrender?
I do.
You do? Do you like them?
Again, it's another band I haven't really like dug deep into their catalog, but I mean, I know some songs have come up, and I like. Yeah, I mean.
Well, that one album, I think it's called "If These Streets Could Talk," is an album that I really like. But I was wondering, and maybe I'm just having a big brain fart. I don't know, but how many bands do you know of that you like that have like two legit or more than one legit lead singer, to where they actually pass vocals off to each other, like full on hooks and stuff to each other? You know what I'm saying? It's not that many, right?
Not that many, meaning like the ones that I like, or the ones that I can think of
in general. I'm just trying to think of even like mainstream bands and stuff. How many actually
there is
have
that little band called Linkin Park.
Okay, I personally put that into a little bit of different category, because I don't know, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Because I'm thinking of like the rock and rap element together, or hip hop element together, I guess. But I guess yeah, that should be the same thing.
I mean, that's how it started, but it definitely evolved into. Mike Shinoda did a shit ton of hooks and did a lot of singing. But I mean, well, they're the staple. They are where you start.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. I still feel like there's not that many.
Well, there were a lot during the new metal time. Well, not a lot, but there were quite a few. Let me think here. Darwin's Waiting Room is one. You don't know who that is, do you?
I have a feeling you're gonna name a lot of bands that I've never heard of in my entire life.
All right, let me not do that then, because this will just be me going, do you know that band? No. I would say a more recent one, and unfortunately it's not the lineup of the band anymore, would be the band Crown the Empire.
Oh, the lineup of the band changed?
Yeah, so the guitar player who did a lot of the singing and did a lot of the hooks is no longer in the band. But they put out a record. What is it called? Let me look on my phone here, because I got it. I just can't. I'm so bad with titles. Retrograde.
Okay.
It came out in 2016. It is a fantastic record. Fantastic. So like both of those guys.
That's a lot more recent than I was thinking about.
That's what?
That's a lot more recent than the one that I had gotten into, because
you got into stuff earlier than that?
Yeah, I had to.
I didn't even, dude, how bad is this? I didn't even really listen to them until I heard one of those songs, and they had already been out for a while. I knew they were a band, but I think the stuff I heard, I was like, no, not for me.
I honestly don't even know how I found them, because I don't know. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that album's called Millennia. No, it was called Resistance, I think. Yeah, it was the one before. How did you go
from Millennia to Resistance?
Because the third song on the album's called Millennia.
Oh, okay.
And it was one of the bigger songs off the album. Anyways.
Who is the guy? What's the guy's name that's no longer in the band? He's a fantastic singer. God, they've had a shit ton of former members. Good God.
Really?
Oh my God. His name was, so it would have been Dave Escamilla is the guy's name.
Okay.
But yeah, he was in another band a pretty popular band also. I can't keep up with these. I mean, dude. Yeah, that's one I could think of recent. There's We Came as Romans, which I believe both of those guys sing. Maybe not. Maybe they do now. I know back in the day they didn't so much. There's a lot of those metalcore-ish, mallcore bands that had to, I want to say, became pretty popular. Wage War is a recent one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Homie That Screams doesn't really sing all that often, but on the newest record, he does quite a bit more than he ever has. And that's a great, have you heard that record?
Yeah. What's the big song on it? Crap.
Manic.
Yeah.
Manic. Yeah.
You know,
Man, look at me. I remember the song title. Holy shit.
They were just at the Red Flag, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm so pissed. Why did I miss it? Oh, that's when my entire household besides me was sick. And then I became sick shortly after that.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that badly. And I saw videos, people posted videos. I was like, oh, motherfucker. They'll be back around because that record's really good. Really good. And I'm actually quite surprised that amongst critics and pundits and people that love to hate when bands change their sound, which to me, they didn't change that much. I mean, they did, but it's been received really well, which is, I'm surprised. The first time I listened to it, I go, man, I love this, but I know so many people are going to shit on it. And it hasn't really been that way. Like Finn McKenty, he was one that I actually thought of when I heard it. I go, he's going to shit on this so hard. And he did a review of it and he actually really liked it. So I was kind of surprised. But
that's what a lot of people did with Bring Me the Horizon too, right?
Which record?
Is it AMO or AMO? Is that what it's called?
That is such a good record, man.
I know, I really liked it, but I know that, like, I don't know.
It got shit on. It got shit on big time.
It did seem like a big shift though. Not in a bad way, but a big shift from their normal. But they've had a lot of the shifts, man. When they first started, they were hard.
Yeah, I think they've been changing ever so slightly with every record. And I think it's been great. I think the change, like, dude, that record's so good, man. That's like,
yeah.
If you like pop music and you like hard rock or aggressive music, it's a perfect combination of the two, in my opinion. That's a sound that is right up my alley, you know. And it's not even necessarily that I'm a giant fan of that band. I don't like any of their hard stuff. Not for me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was very corny. I started listening when what is that song called? Tear. Can You Feel My Heart? Jesus. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I know I fucked up that synth part, but yeah. Couldn't quite get the melody in my head, but
House of Wolves is on that record too. Yeah, that's a really good
Avalanche
really good
and do that. So from that, then to the record with Throne and all those songs to
okay. Yeah.
This isn't the first time we've talked about this, and each time we talk about it, we get it wrong. You would think we would learn our lesson by now to just not try to, but
no, why?
It's kind of funny. So there was I walked into an event on Sunday and a band member comes up to me, a band dude, I should say, friend of mine, but comes up to me, or I go up to him and I say hello. And he goes, man, I got to tell you, I gotta be honest with you. I talk shit about you on a podcast. I was like, what? And it's not the Gutter Punk Poser, by the way. We'll get into that in a minute. But he goes, yeah, I talk shit about you on a podcast. He's like, I wanted to tell you in case you listened to it or heard it. And he's like, I didn't specifically say your name, but I specifically mentioned a moment. And he's like, I know you would know it was you. I was like, oh, can I guess? And I actually guessed the moment that he was talking about. He used to be in a band with me. Let's just say that. But I guessed the moment he was talking about. And I was like, dude, I hated that moment too. Trust me. I don't know what I was thinking in the moment, but I know exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
I'll tell you a quick story. So when we played with Seether at the pageant, it was a Point Ho Ho show. So it was Christmas time. And we had this Mariah Carey intro, All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Now, up to that point, like we're in the dressing room, we're getting ready to go on stage, we're getting hyped up, and we didn't have much of a sound check. And it was kind of a not so pleasant evening for us to start because a certain band who will remain nameless had a giant oversized drum riser that needed to stay on the stage. They were playing in between us and Seether. Their name rhymes with Mommen's Barvist. And so
Okay.
They had an oversized drum riser on the stage that they couldn't remove from the stage. Now we were supposed to get a real check because we were the opening band. Well, their sound check took longer than expected. And as we're watching them sound check, we're looking at that giant drum riser and we're thinking, there's no fucking way they leave that on stage, right? Like, what room am I going to have to walk? And we're talking about the pageant.
I'll say, how big is this thing?
Giant. If I can, I have videos of the show. I'll send you videos. It's enormous. I had to do like an L to get around the stage at the pageant, for fuck's sake. So sure enough, they're loading their amps off the stage and all the stuff. And man, nobody's attending to that drum riser. And I look around at everybody. I'm like, you got to be fucking joking me, right? And no, it stayed on the stage. And I politely asked the sound guy. I was like, hey, just curiosity, no big deal, but is that drum riser going to stay while we play? He's like, yeah, it can't be moved. It has to be broken down completely to get off the stage. And I'm thinking, well, break it down, get it off the stage.
I will help you.
Yeah, we'll help. Get it off the stage. So that immediately like puts a damper. It just puts, it's a bad start to the night, but we got over it. It's fine. Had a good show. Right. So, but during the intro, now, because we didn't have much of a sound check and because it's the pageant and because it's Seether and it is sold out pageant crowd, you start having a few beers to get rid of the nerves. Right. So I'm not nervous at all. At this point in my life, I'm not nervous to play any show of any size. Right. At this point, I've already played a sold out pageant show. I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I've done it a couple of times. So I'm not nervous. However, we're standing there and this Mariah Carey intro starts and I have a wireless mic. And I just remember thinking, I didn't get much of a check. And I don't know what happened, but like an evil spirit took over my body. Right. And right as the Mariah Carey intro starts, I just go check, check like that into the mic. And it just echoed throughout the pageant, right? Just like loud as fuck. And then everyone in my band, especially the person who talks shit about me on this podcast, looked at me like, what are you doing, bro? And I remember shaking my head like, guys, I don't know what just happened. Like, it was just like I had a seizure or a fucking aneurysm right there. And it was funny when he told me this. I go, dude, I know exactly what moment you're talking about. And I mentioned it and he's like, that's the one. He's like, I just talk shit. He's like, I didn't like talk shit like necessarily like, but he was like, it's one of my biggest pet peeves when singers do that. And then I was like, yeah, man, I hated it in the moment too. And I remember you even shooting me a look. He's like, dude, I didn't shoot you a look. He's like, I wanted to kill you. I was like, yeah, I get it. So I think what may have happened is I may have watched videos of Limp Bizkit live from like 1999, the night before or 2 nights before. And it might have been the influence, but who knows?
But it's a pet peeve of his when they do that. Why, what? Like right before you're going on, or I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a pretty annoying thing to do, dude. I understand exactly what he's saying. It's very much like, well, for me, and I don't know what this was we didn't like dive deep into it. I know why it's a pet peeve for a lot of people, because it's like you've already had your sound check. It's the same thing if a guitar player went during the, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. If it's not planned, if the band has an understanding, like we're going to do something goofy during the intro to like get people amped up, like we're about to take the stage. I didn't have that discussion with anyone. Like I said, an evil spirit took over and I just did this stupid thing. But also as a vocalist, I know that it looks like I was trying to be the center of attention in that moment, which is, it's rude. It's rude to do the rest of your band. You know, if you have the understanding that you're not going to do anything until you walk out on stage and you get counted by the drummer, don't fucking make a noise. Don't make a peep. Right. And I broke that rule. I broke the rule and I owned it. I still own it. So I was like, nah, dude, talk shit about me. I'm an idiot. It's like one of those moments, like you have good moments, you have bad moments on stage. That's definitely one of the moments I was like, fuck, that was cringe. Why did I do that? I don't know. I think I'm blaming Fred Durst. I'm going to stick to that. But
I'm surprised when he told you when he said, dude, I talked shit about you on a podcast. I'm surprised you weren't like, so you're not the first.
Definitely not first. But no, he already knows about Gutter Punk Poser. Oh yeah. Well, dude, he was, all things considered, that moment that we're referring to where someone did talk shit, he was talking about this guy too. He wasn't just talking about me, you know.
Right. Is it weird to you that small moment in time that long ago came up on a podcast now?
No, well, dude, I mean, I have a long history of playing shows with this guy, and
Okay.
to be honest with you, he's a dude that I've always gotten along with, musically speaking, and just outside of band stuff. We've just always clicked. So no, I don't think so. It's kind of funny. I was going through old pictures last night. I was I was clearing out my phone, making sure everything was on my computer, and I found a bunch of old band pics, and I showed my wife one of me and this dude, and it was from the last block party I played. And I didn't know these. I forgot that I had these pictures, and honestly, I forgot they existed. But it was just a picture of us on stage rocking out. But I'm like in the middle of doing something, and he's looking at me like a huge shit-eating grin on his face, like smiling. And he was always one of the dudes who we just got along on the stage. I don't have many vivid memories of other band members of mine smiling at me and being truly happy to be rocking out with me. There are plenty, but I'm just saying, like, but he was always that guy. Should I just say this person's name? Nah, we'll leave it. No, we'll make it. We'll leave it a mystery.
You don't have to.
No. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I should, because I'm giving him credit. But anyway, but I saw that picture and I was like, oh yeah, that's a great moment. I should share this with him in case he doesn't have it. But when he was talking about that moment, and this is actually another funny story. I swear to God, a week ago. So like a week before he tells me this, I was clearing out my Google Drive, and I found the videos from that show, because those videos were shared with me through Google Drive by the company that did them. And I watched a little bit of it, and that moment happened, and I was like, now I know why I haven't watched this since it happened. That's why. Just cringe-worthy shit from me, of course. But all things considered, that was a good show. We did pretty well, but nonetheless.
Was this in Troy?
What?
The show you're talking about?
The check moment, or the fucking?
No. What you're talking about now?
I was talking about the check moment. The Google Drive was the check moment.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I don't have video of the block party, thank God.
Okay.
I saw that one video that person posted, or that person sent to me from the back. That's all I've seen. Thank God.
There's some pretty decent YouTube videos out there.
From the latest block party?
No.
Oh.
Is that what you're talking about? The last one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking like a few years back.
No, well, the last one that I did. So
okay.
A few years back, but.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wait, was the last one I did the last block party?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So yeah. Yeah, I should have been like, yeah, well, you're not the first person to talk shit about me, and won't be the last. I mean, thank God there weren't podcasts back in the day during the STL music snob days. I really would have got it hard then. I've told you about that, right? That has to have come up.
It seems familiar, but I don't.
This dude was an internet troll, and he had.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
And he had specific pages dedicated to artists in the scene here that he didn't like, and I had extra special attention from him. He did not like me.
Right.
But
he's still around, right? Didn't you say that he fought likes some of your stuff or something every once in a while?
No, that's another guy. That's a different guy. That's a different guy who used to troll. He used to troll people. Let's just say that. I can't say who. There might be, I can't say who. But he used to troll people. But yeah, no, he likes some of our show stuff.
Okay.
And some of my Rocky stuff. I don't know if there's a troll moment coming here soon or what.
Yeah, maybe he's just collecting data.
He's just collecting it all. Yeah. He's making a documentary about me.
Cool. I might be involved. I'm excited.
Yeah. But thank God podcasts didn't exist back then. I mean, this dude made a cartoon about me, like a cartoon character of me. And I was just like, man, you have put too much effort into this.
Right.
Did I tell you that I foolishly saw that guy at a bar and threatened to kick his ass?
I feel like you have told me that story too.
Not one of my finest moments. We had been drinking for a long time that day. We ended up at a bar, and one of our mutual friends goes, hey, you know who that is? I go, no, who's that? And he tells me, not a good idea, but nothing happened. And I apologize profusely not to him, because fuck him, but to people that worked at the bar, because they got involved. Right. They're like, hey man, what are you doing fighting in our bar? I'm like, well, I'm not fighting. I'm just threatening to kill this guy. They're like, yeah, don't do that. So I wasn't going to do anything. But yeah, there was this event on Sunday, and I saw a bunch of people from the scene. And it's just like people I have not seen in forever. I was like, whoa.
You keep saying event. Are you not wanting to say where you were?
Well, I went to I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, but it was a memorial to John Berube. He worked at
Okay.
Pops and
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But just being at Pops was like surreal. I was like, fuck, I don't know the last time I was here.
Oh, they did it at Pops?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. It was cool. Like a couple of people got up and spoke and they just played music and we all just hung out. And yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was cool to catch up with a lot of people.
Do you, I mean, if you don't want to say, or you can't say or anything like that, that's fine. But do you know what happened?
I actually did not get the skinny on how I know he was sick for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I had heard was I just seen people saying, hey, if you want to see him, you need to do it now.
Yeah. I don't want to speculate without knowing for sure. So I'm not even going to say what I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And you know what, to be honest with you, it was such a cool night. Like it wasn't like a sad night. I don't think anyone really wanted to talk about it, especially after the speech someone gave. Like they killed it, crushed it. Just like they invited everyone to come up and speak. So his brother spoke, and then one of our I don't know if you know who he is, but this dude that myself and the guy who I was talk shit about me on the podcast. No, he's better friends with him than I am. But anyway, he gets up and speaks, and dude, it was 5 minutes of crushing, just 5 minutes of, yeah. So no one wanted to follow that. So no one else got up and spoke after that. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
So it like the overall tone of the night was just really cool. I don't think anyone, well, me, I don't know. I'm sure people were talking about him and reminiscing, but I didn't want to ask negative, morbid type questions of like, I never really heard, how did he die? Because I am new to Facebook again here. So without Facebook, I wouldn't even have known for probably a full week after it happened. Whereas because of Facebook, I found out right away. Yeah, it's a cool event, man. Very surreal. And I started talking to people that hadn't seen it so long, and we started bringing up all these old stories. And I was like, yeah, Pops.
This could take us down a dark road, I guess, but I've noticed over the past few years, at least, like celebrations of life are becoming more and more popular, and some to where they don't even really have a funeral, or if they do, it's just for like very close family and friends. And then they just do like big celebrations of life, which is like a big party. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. And I think they should be done for everyone. I grew up Catholic, so we had the proper fucking funeral, and I experienced a shit ton of death at a young age. So we did the ceremony at the funeral home, then you drive to church, you do the mass, then you go to the burial site, and then afterwards you get fucked up. Right. But it was just like, by then you're like, so just Jesus, can we just like, it's a full day of sadness. And then,
it's a different fucked up too. Like it's a sad, somber, like it's been a really rough day kind of thing versus like celebration of life where you're kind of like, telling stories about some like good stories that you remember about the people and, that kind of stuff. But I think if I remember correctly, so I was listening to the It's Always Sunny podcast, the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it was Glenn Howerton that was talking about how he's always had this weird thing about funerals on why they even started and why anybody would want the last memory of someone to be them laying dead there in a box.
Oh, it's crazy. You know how many open caskets I've been to, man? Dude.
Yeah. And it's, I'm sure that it started for some reason, but I don't know that I care to know. I'm just like, this is really weird.
It is, but you almost just deal with it out of respect. Not almost, you deal with it out of respect. So I had a friend, we didn't talk about this on the podcast, but we talked about a bunch of shit going on, but I had a really good friend recently that passed away. Maybe I did talk about it, but we were fucking shocked when we discovered it was going to be open casket. We were like, fuck me. And I remember like, it took me a good 15, 20 minutes to get up the courage and walk up there. I started walking up and I stopped and I said, nope. I looked at my wife and said, nope, not right now. Stepped aside and, gathered myself like, yeah, dude, this podcast got morbid. It's a very bizarre pastime. I mean, I obviously it's very religious based for some people. Like I said, I grew up Catholic. It's just it's probably going to break some people's hearts if I go early. and my family, like it's going to break their hearts. But if I go early, there better be no mentions of God at my funeral service, at my celebration of life, at anything. No disrespect. I understand why people, I'm spiritual too, just not in the same way. So like, it's there will be no open casket. You will not see me. I will be either burned up or planted somewhere to be a tree or something like that. Or, I told my wife, I was like, just spread my ashes over whatever the field they play baseball in Cleveland is called when I die. Just do that. Like, just do that. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't think I could do, just like you said, it took you like 30 minutes to be able to go up there. I don't like for a good friend. I don't know that I could do it. Dude.
It was rough, man. And it was different. And that's what I kept saying to people. Like, I never had a good friend pass away. So it was always family members. And, I haven't had grandparents forever. I didn't even know my grandparents really. And then a lot of my aunts and uncles, because my family's so big, I had 3 or 4 of my dad's brothers and sisters pass away before I was 10, all of which Catholic, open casket, did the whole fucking thing. And it wasn't, when you're a kid too, you're kind of indifferent to it. You're like, oh, this is sad. This is a bummer. But once you're an adult, you're trying to process this. But yeah, it was just totally different. I was just like, oh, this is not how I expected. It was just weird. But yeah. My wife and I both were like, no fucking funeral, no fucking casket, none of this nonsense. And it's not nonsense. I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but none of this to us. It's just not for us. So like, yeah, man, hopefully you don't have to experience that anytime soon. Cause it is bizarre. Bizarre is not even the right word to use. I don't even know how to, I don't know. And I know people that have had many, many good friends pass away, at a young age. I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. How did we get into that? What the fuck? How did we get down this path? What just happened?
I don't know, but I have a weird question.
Uh-oh.
That goes along with this and it's a question I was going to ask you at some point. I just didn't know when it would come up. So you said you're spiritual, but do you actually believe in like ghosts and spirits and things like that or no?
Oh no.
You don't at all?
Oh no.
Okay, here's the reason why I asked this. Do you remember the show Fear on MTV?
Yeah.
That show scared the piss out of me. I know I was a kid, but still.
This truly shows the difference in our ages. What did we just talk about when we were talking about like the first CD we bought or something like that?
Do what? Where are you?
We were talking about on one of the podcasts most really, you like, what was the first CD you bought? And you named your first CD.
Yeah. I told you it was hybrid theory.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, by the time Fear had come out.
No. Okay.
I had probably already developed a few drug habits and stuff by that point. So no, I wasn't scared of Fear. That's crazy. I don't believe in ghosts, man. Not really.
Okay.
I've tried, we had a group of friends when we were young shitheads. We would find out what the like infamous or known haunted houses are or like haunted properties are. And we would drive to them and go to them and nothing would happen. I don't know. Maybe I went to the wrong ones, but
yeah,
this is probably way beyond you because you didn't grow up here, but have you ever heard of the bubbleheads?
No.
I don't even know if I know how to explain this. But the bubbleheads, it was very much like a rite of passage when we were in high school. Typically it happened when you were in high school, but there was this house that was way in the woods, way up north of St. Louis, where supposedly it was a haunted house where these weird bubble-headed like people lived, and they would come run after your car and chase after you and stuff. And it was a rite of passage. Like once you got your driver's license or someone in your crew had their driver's license, you would drive up there and fuck with these poor people. It was probably just some old couple with a kid with Down syndrome. Sad to say, but it's very terrible. As I'm saying it, I regret it coming out this way. But
can we edit this out?
No, we don't need to edit it out. You could YouTube the bubbleheads, and I think there was like a mockumentary that somebody made about it.
Serious? It was this big?
If you grew up in St. Louis, yes,
Huh.
yes. Especially if you grew up in St. Louis and lived in the North County, North City area, you knew what the bubbleheads were and you likely drove there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we went and we took, bottle rockets and golf balls and fucking eggs and water balloons filled with piss and shaving cream and all kinds of shit.
And you didn't see anybody?
No, a guy definitely ran after our car, but like I said, it was probably just the property owner pissed off that these punk ass kids are once again at his house.
But you didn't see them?
I didn't see any bubbleheads, no. Unfortunately.
No.
Some people claim they have, and some people claim that they've interacted with these bubbleheads and the bubbleheads chase them. But everybody had their stories. But it was Google that or YouTube that later.
I'm gonna have to. Dude, did you ever do growing up? Did you ever do? I know this sounds like very mediocre, but just like TPing or forking yards or wrapping cars or
we were fucking assholes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. TP's for children.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we used to. So, fuck. Hopefully this person does not listen to this. So we had this girl that we were all friends with. We went. You know how people would have like lawn furniture or like lawn decorations, like gazing balls and all that kind of shit. We had 2 trucks. We basically filled up the bed of 2 pickup trucks of stolen, because we would steal it out of people's yards, stolen lawn furniture and decorations. We took a washing machine off someone's sidewalk that they were leaving for the trash and put it all in this girl's yard, like littered her yard with all of this stuff that we stole. And we had a video camera and we waited and waited and waited and no one ever came out. She's fucking out of town. No one was home. So they got back from a vacation and saw this.
Jeez.
Imagine how fucking mad they were. Yeah, we were pieces of shit, dude. True pieces of shit.
I remember one year when I was in high school, we have a friend who is paralyzed from the waist down. He got in a 4-wheeler accident in high school and got paralyzed. Well, he was our driver. So we loaded up the back of an Equinox with toilet paper and he parks on this side road and we grab I'm listening.
The guy in the wheelchair is your driver?
Uh-huh.
Irresponsible assholes. Go on, go.
I know, right. So he parks on this side road and we all get out, we get all the toilet paper out and we're just launching and launching and launching hundreds and hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. And some other people are like forking their yard and other stuff, nothing really major. But then all of a sudden we see this cop coming down the road. So we all kind of like duck and just trying to be hidden, I guess. I don't know. Well, of course, lights flip on. So all of us jump up and we all take off running into the woods. Well, the cop sees that our buddy is parked on that side road. So he pulls up behind the car, walks up to the side of the car and yells at our buddy to get out of the car. Well, he can't because his wheelchair is in the back of the Equinox. So he's trying to explain to the cop that he's paralyzed and he can't get out of the car. And then the next thing we know, like 10 seconds later, he's giving up all of our names and the cop is going through a megaphone yelling at all of us to get out of the woods, like naming us by name.
He gave you up?
He did. He gave us up, man.
Oh, dude.
I know, but it was. I guess we had it coming because we kind of screwed him. We left him there to take the.
Yeah, a little bit.
Good time.
What was his getaway plan?
I don't think he had one.
No, he can't walk, bro. Unless he wants to go on a high-speed chase, he's stuck there. That's funny. I sure hope my son doesn't turn into that. It doesn't do any of that shit.
Is that? I mean, do you see that kind of thing around you?
I don't know. I mean. Did I tell you about the high school party next door to me? Oh, it happened after the last podcast we did. So last Saturday. And it's graduation time. So there are grad parties and all that shit. So whatever it was. So whenever it was, but I'm sitting on my front porch, just chilling, drinking a beer. And this car pulls up and it stops right in front of my house. And it's sitting there for a good 15, 20 seconds. And I'm like, what are they doing? These 2 white girls get out, young white girls, carrying a pizza, get out and start walking up my sidewalk. And I peek my, like I do, turn my head, like lean over to the side a little bit. I'm like, give them the look like, what are you doing? And they go, oh, sorry. And they turn around, walk away, and walk to the left to the neighbor's house across the street from me. And then I'm thinking, I know what this is. And they're sitting on the corner eating pizza. And then it's just like, vroom, car after car, vroom, stupid kids, vroom, stupid punk ass kids, vroom, parking on my street, almost hitting my wife's car, vroom, just fucking motherfucker. So it was this giant grad party. My wife, who was already asleep, I text her, I go, there is a fucking high school party right next door. She's like, so what? I'm like, I remember how I was in high school. I'm not going to bed now because they're going to fuck with our shit. And they're going, no, she's like, no, they're not. I'm like, I just told you, I remember how I was in high school. She's like, babe, kids aren't like that anymore. You were an asshole. Not everybody's an asshole. And I'm like, fair point, but I'm still staying up. Nothing happened, thankfully. But this car really did get close to backing into my wife's car. So I got a little picture of their license plate. I was like, back into it again. I dare you. But such a dad now. Just grumpy old man.
Yeah, man, you're going to be the guy that's out just watching the festivities happen.
I mean, that's better than being the creepy guy who wants to go party with the kids, right?
Well, I didn't know how your story was going to end.
You thought I partied with these kids, bro? Really?
I didn't know.
Jesus. No, I didn't party with the high school kids. No, that's creepy.
That is kind of creepy.
You remember the movie Project X? One of the most underrated, underappreciated high school party movies of all time. But it was kind of like they shot it like it was like a documentary. It's a movie where they had a giant party. There was like a midget, cars were on fire. There was a guy with a flamethrower. If you've like YouTube the trailer, but in that movie, there's like the creep, of course, like the token creepy old guy that shows up and wants to party,
Uh-huh.
And I'm always like, that happens in every high school party movie. But is that really based on reality? Does that guy really exist? Like, remember in Varsity Blues, the fucking dude who goes to all the football parties and he looks old as fuck. They're like, you still coming to all these parties, huh? And then they hit him in the nuts with a wiffle ball bat or something.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it like actually happens, but it's always like the old guy who wasn't cool back in the day, right? And he needs to be now.
Yeah, like Uncle Rico.
Yeah. Or he's the guy that bought the keg because the high schoolers couldn't.
Oh, that guy sucks. That guy sucks bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember my sister's, 3-4 years younger than me, maybe. Well, but she was in high school and my parents were out of town and she wanted to throw a party. I remember I was in charge. And I was like, yeah, do I be the asshole or do I be the cool brother that lets this happen? And then so like I invited a bunch of friends over and we had like a different quadrant of the yard where we were hanging out. And I was like taking keys from kids and like, yeah, I saw you drinking. You're not driving home. Like, yeah, it still felt weird, even though I was doing that.
Was your sister's younger than you?
Yeah.
By how much?
I just led that story off with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Active listening, bro. Active listening.
Yeah,
you drinking whiskey?
I am actually.
Yeah. 4 years, 4 years younger than me. Yeah.
So did your parents ever find out about this party?
I'm sure later we were telling stories and they found out. No, that night, no, or that specific instance, no. My parents' house was a giant party house because my older sister is 10 years older than me. So when she was in high school, it was the party house. Like the cops knew, like, oh, the Blair house. Like if there was a noise disturbance call or if there were cars parked on the street and like they were like, oh fuck, another. It was like that. And there are a lot of crazy stories. And I can't believe that, I was a kid, I was a baby. Well, not a baby, but a little kid while this was going on, like being there, obviously like go to your room, get out of here. But
yeah, I'm picturing these German soccer players that are living
British
out in the backyard partying with everybody too.
Well, my sister would have been out of high school by then, but yeah,
okay.
There were parties then too.
Yeah.
There were parties then too. And I remember a specific family member of mine kicked the shit out of another family member. I'll just leave it at that. Nice. At one of these parties.
Nice.
And it was like the first, I remember, being a kid, it's like the first time you saw an adult member of your family fight somebody and it shakes you to your core. You're like, oh shit just got real. Maybe I shouldn't mouth off so much because that could be me someday. Maybe I won't. Yeah. It is very, it's crazy. Anyway, party time. I don't know. Before we go, and it's crazy that I'm the one asking you about this, but you commented on it. How fucked are the Browns?
So when this whole thing started, when they first signed Deshaun Watson, we had this conversation, and you were like, what happens if Deshaun Watson gets through all this stuff? Cleveland Browns say that they are, they have his back through all of this, and if they could come back and like win a Super Bowl or something like that with Deshaun Watson, they look awesome. That has gone straight downhill ever since. And now they're saying that Deshaun Watson, because of this new accusation and the new lawsuit against him that was done from a woman that they've never heard of before, and it's a brand new lawsuit, that it could void all of his guaranteed contract if he does have criminal charges going against him, if it goes through another grand jury.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and that's all terrible. As a Browns fan, that's terrible. But I don't care. I don't care about his money. He had to have known that this could happen. The Browns had to have known that this could happen. That's why they worked the contract that way. But how does this help? How does this help the situation? How does it help the team? And they just told Baker Mayfield that he doesn't have to attend minicamp now.
I seen that too. What do you mean? How does it help the team?
Well, I'm saying like it feels like a panic decision.
On Baker?
No, the signing of Deshaun Watson now feels like it was a panic move. Like, oh, fuck. We don't know if Baker's the guy. He's the 5th-year option. We don't want to take our chances. But let's get a guy who we think is better despite all the shit that's going on.
But there's a lot of other quarterbacks out there floating around that they probably could have got for a lot less. So why Deshaun Watson? Why is he the panic move?
It feels like the worst contract ever in the history of the NFL.
So who's their third string guy?
Jacoby Brissett will be the starter on opening day.
Wow.
That's my prediction.
Huh.
That's my prediction. He's right now number 3 on the depth chart, but as soon as Baker's gone, he's number 2. And they got Josh Dobbs, who didn't even play last year.
Right. Huh.
So, and you know what? To be honest with you, with the offense that they have and the running game that they have, I don't really mind Jacoby Brissett being my starter. I'd rather have Baker. Yeah. I'd rather have Deshaun Watson, but I don't mind it.
With everything going on with Deshaun Watson and with everything going on with pretty much all these other quarterbacks that have already made their moves.
Yeah.
It's not going to surprise me if they don't make something happen with Baker, at least for another year, until they can get things back up and going. I know they said that he doesn't have to attend this mini camp or whatever now, and he's not going to get anything against him for it, but maybe that's part of the deal. Maybe it's like, we need you for another year. What do you need from us?
They most certainly need him for another year.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
If I'm the general manager, I'm like, all right, so listen, everything that we did, we're sorry. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. We fucked up. I follow a lot of media or Cleveland media personalities on Twitter and stuff. And one in particular has been anti Deshaun Watson since the beginning. And it's really crazy how people will just turn a conversation to nonsense, like right out of the gate. Like she posts a bunch of stuff about, like, people will be like, well, all he did was make the women feel uncomfortable. There's no proof of any wrongdoing. She's like, hey, asshole, as a man, you're not supposed to make women feel uncomfortable. So why does he get a free pass? Because he's a quarterback? And then like people would respond to things she would say and bring it, like make it racial. And she would be like, well, how is this a racial? I'm confused. When did this become racial?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But it's like people will do that though, just to keep the conversation more heated, like just to keep it heated and keep it like going. And it's so it's toxic. I don't know what they're doing. I'm worried. I mean, I told you the last time that I wasn't, but now I am.
Have you heard like the accusations, like on the new lawsuit and stuff?
That he was inappropriate. I don't know. What?
Just asking for really weird areas to be worked on is what I'll say.
That's been all the women though, right? That's what they've all said, right?
I mean, for the most part, I guess.
And I guess one woman said that he climaxed in front of her, not on her, but in front of her.
I haven't heard.
I might be making that up. See, we got to go. I'm gonna get us canceled, which probably would be the best thing for us.
Well, did you see?
Go back and get